Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Speedcars Down Under. We've had another week break as Paul's been busy and I've been busy, but we're back this week with a vengeance. We've sort of changed the show a little bit. We've got a few things we want to talk about rather than just doing an interview, but we'll get to all that very shortly. And joining us tonight, just fresh off work, as we can see with his work shirt on, Paul Charlesworth. Yep. Welcome, Paul.
Hello, mate. How are you? Yeah, sorry about the work shirt, mate. I've only just got back in time to be able to do this. So, yeah.
And our special guest tonight is from Victoria, team owner, ex-race car driver, is Tim Fisher. Welcome, Tim.
G'day, guys. Appreciate you having me on tonight. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. We just informed people, his name is not, is it Joel? How do I pronounce that?
Well, that's Jolene, so I'm on my wife's computer, mate. That's my wife, Jolene. So,
just so people don't get confused out there. Right, let's get into it then. Paul, Tom Payette, big news this week. He is joining the Hardwire Murphy Motorsport team and racing with Jack Dwyer. Jack McCarthy, sorry.
Jack McCarthy.
Right. Yes.
So, which once again I think is, I think it's a good thing. Those two get on really well. They're pretty close, off the track as well as, they will provide some really good racing together, that's for sure. I think it's good news for Tom.
Yep.
Like to sort of, because it'd be a shame to sort of see Tom outside of a midget, and that's what happens. A lot of these guys that start off in midgets do all right.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, we lose into sprint cars and stuff like that. And thank God to people like Luke Storer, and Dylan Menz and guys like that.
Yep.
Who are getting the opportunity to still do double duty. So, thanks to them.
And I've noticed that lately, a lot of speed car drivers jumping into a sprint car and doing quite good in it. Like, Luke winning Chariots of Thunder, young Dylan Menz drove up at Toowoomba the other week in the speed car and the sprint car, drove well in both races. It's a credit to these drivers to actually be able to jump out of one car and jump straight into another car and just click. It is a real credit to these modern day drivers, no doubt about that.
Well, Tim, like Brock Hallett, Luke Storer drives for you. Tim, that's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I got Luke, and you mentioned a really good name there. Brock Hallett had a lot of success in South Australian-based car. And hopefully, I guess in car owning, you hope that you can have young guys and girls come through in your ride, and I guess it's the ultimate compliment or the ultimate for a car owner to see your driver have a success in your car and move on to, I don't think bigger and better things in sprint cars, but move on to the pinnacle of sport in Australia anyway. Yeah.
Well, me and Paul have a few arguments about that because I'm a sprint car fan. I love them, Tim. Absolutely love the things.
Sprint cars, then I'd be lying if I've been in the classics and all the big races, but I think anything without a wing, whether it be a sprint car, Formula 500, is just better. So, but that's my 2 cents.
And yes, I'm with you there. I didn't know much about speed cars, and I've definitely changed my tune about them. I love these things just as much as the sprint cars. It's great to see such great divisions in Australia. It's awesome. Other news this week, Caden Manders. How good is this bloke from WA? Wins the WA speed car title, jumps out of that, and finishes third in the sprint cars.
Sprint car.
How do these blokes do it? Congratulations too, to Caden, because he's a gun driver.
Well, he's an amazing talent. I remember he won with Keith McCallum, the Figlamini. I think it was maybe not his first run, but he hadn't had many runs in a speed car, and he went out and won the Figlamini, one of the biggest races in Australia. So he's been a standout guy. I was really excited last year when he got the opportunity to go to Midget Week. He consistently made the A mains, hadn't done a lot of laps in a midget. Obviously he's done a lot of laps in a midget, but not for a while. So, I think probably one of, if not the best midget drivers. Obviously, Cade Brown, I think Luke Storer and Matty Jackson, the guys in that same category. But, Cade Man is definitely a gun, particularly in WA and those big tracks.
Oh, yeah, outstanding. I watched both races. I've been a bit behind on Claver View the last few weeks, so I actually caught up on a few meetings, and that race was absolutely spectacular. Both speed cars and sprint cars, just totally wicked. Absolutely awesome. Big shout out to Holly Russell. We had Holly on the show not long ago, Paul, didn't we? And
I think Holly was our first ever guest, actually.
Yes, she was. She was looking for a ride here in Australia. She's from New Zealand, the young girl, talented driver, drove speed cars in New Zealand. Well, she's actually picked up a ride for a crowd in Queensland. I can't think of the name of the crowd offhand, but she's actually jumped into an LS sprint car. So congratulations, Holly, on achieving your goal. It's a real credit to you. You really go the hard yards for everything, and congratulations on getting the ride you wanted.
And she does too, you know, like she does put herself out there and promotes herself, you know, like a bit like Bo.
Yeah.
Bo Dog from WA.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's good to see the younger guys sort of, you know, getting out there, promoting themselves like that. Because I think, you know, if you want to attract sponsorship today, you've sort of got to be in that sort of era, you know, and to be selling yourself, you know, and I think you do.
And she sells herself really well. She does. You know, she's got all the social media pages, you know, and she's not scared to put it out there, you know, like, and it's good for her, and credit to her, definitely a credit to her.
Yeah.
Right, what else?
Actually, just on that note, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen any of the Bo Doyle stuff.
Yes,
like,
I have.
This is all the replica, which I think's been quite actually sort of funny and good to sort
Hit the
of
pace
that,
car. You know? Hit the pace car.
Yeah. No, I think it's actually a credit to them for putting all that stuff together.
Oh, it's awesome. It's great to see these drivers getting out there on social media and actually promoting their product. And you know, like that to me, that's another level that a driver can go to by promoting their product. Sponsors love it, you know. It's great to see the sponsors, you know, they're going to be happy with all that, you know, and it's promoting the sport, promoting their sponsors, and promoting themselves. So it's a great idea. I think it's awesome. Like, A couple of meetings coming up this weekend. We've got the South Australian Speedcar title at Murray Bridge. I have not been able to get hold of the nominations, so I can't tell you how many's nominated, but there is a few good drivers going over there. And we've got a season opener at Goulburn. I think it's Goulburn, if I pronounced that right. 17 cars nominated up there, Paul. One good New Zealander, Brad Mosen.
Good field of cars.
Yeah, that's a good field for their first meeting. We've got Mitch Saunderson, Matt and Luke Gearing, Matt Jackson, Troy Jenkins, Tim Devine, Brad Mosen, Braden Wilmington, and Jordan Mackay. Just to mention a few, but there's some good names there.
Yeah, and that's it. A lot of those guys, a couple of those guys have come into state, such as Timmy Devine. You know, Brad Mosen, as we all know, like he's from New Zealand, so good to see Brad back over in Australia again. You know, because I think, you know, once again, I've always been a big fan of Brad, watching the New Zealand guys, and he did exceptionally well at the Chili Bowl for his first attempt years ago, back in the Synergy V8 car. So
yeah, that was back in 2010. I think he took rookie. I hit my Pickens. Pickens took rookie of the year, but it was a two-team effort. But he's fresh off a win last weekend at Bay Park, so he'll be fast. It's credit to the New South Wales club. Obviously, we all know what's going on in Sydney, so for them to, I guess, rally and get 17 cars for the first race, I mean, credit to obviously everyone that's nominated, and credit to the New South Wales club for obviously, you know, they always put a lot of eggs in that Parramatta basket. So and then obviously Sydney Speedway or Western Sydney Speedway. So for them to, you know, get 17 cars for round one at Goulburn, it's a credit to the club and everyone involved. So well done. Yeah, top job. Never been to Goulburn, but I've been told it's a very good track. Very good track. Yep. Don't forget, 2 weeks' time we're off to Adelaide for the Napa. Can't wait for that to go. Invitation only. There's some top names that are going to be there for that. We'll talk more about that next week, of course. But that is one to look forward to. If you haven't got your tickets booked, make sure you get booked and make sure you get there, because it's going to be a meeting that you are going to blow out on. You've got speed cars and sprint cars, and if it's anything to go by off last season's event there, it is going to be crazy, isn't it, Paul? Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I said, I can't wait. I think the midgets are going to be awesome there. I met the guy who actually built the track, and he's an ex-Speedway guy himself, and he was sort of filling me in a little bit on what goes into building that track and obviously getting rid of it. And to watch the sprint cars there last year doing wheel stands, I think midgets going to put on a really good show. No. So that'll be good. I'm pretty sure we're going to see your car there, Tim. Unfortunately not. We're still waiting on, not really waiting. We got parts on the way, which are always going to be touch and go. So I've sort of rushed last couple of years to get motors together, and that's sort of come back to burn me. So we were accepted. However, unfortunately, Luke will still be there in the sprint car. But we won't come out to the middle of, there's an opportunity where we're trying to get the car ready for Avalon's got $5,000 to win on that Saturday night. So that's what we're shooting for. Obviously, it just depends on parts and availability, freight, all that good stuff. So that's our short-term goal. Like I said, previous years I've probably rushed and pushed a bit hard, and that's backfired. So we're taking a bit of a deep breath this year and making sure we're 100% ready to go. Small steps, mate. Small steps. Yeah. Excellent. Right, so that's it with the news that I can find anyway. But anyway, let's get on to you then, Tim. Moose Motorsport. Tell us your story, mate. Where did it all begin? Well, it's probably began 8, 7, or 8, like most of us. I broke up. Grew up racing go-karts and mini bikes at Oakley Go-Kart Club, which is quite a big go-kart club in Victoria. Um, raced raced go-karts and mini bikes, and then got to about 12, 13, and then I always played t-ball and baseball as a kid, and we're always competitive in a go-kart. You know, Dad and I took it pretty seriously. I sort of raced all over Australia and New Zealand and raced probably 40 weekends a year. But then I was always playing baseball and t-ball on the side. Then I got an opportunity to go overseas to play baseball, so I took that opportunity. So I sort of stopped racing go-karts at about 14, and then went to America and did what I did over there, and then came back and sort of got straight back into Speedway. I brought a business with my dad, and one of our employees had a sprint car, so we sort of helped him, and then we brought him out of the sprint car. I think we ran another season or two with him, and then he had family commitments and couldn't continue, and that was right at the beginning of the rise. I never drove the sprint car, we just owned it, and then that was right at the beginning of the rise of when NOS turned into wingless sprints.
Yep.
And my dad had a little bit to do with that, with the engine rules and the Balcoms and the Triggs. So we had a couple of wingless cars we built, and I ran wingless probably 6 or 7 years. And then I started a family, got married, running a business, and it just got too much for me as far as like what everyone does. You know, you try and prepare a race car, hold down a job, and then go racing on the weekends. So by the time I got to the track on the weekends, I was just ready for a nap, and I was quite often fall asleep in the seat, ready to go out in the dummy grid. So I was lucky enough, went to the Chili Bowl in 2010, I believe, and fell in love with midgets and thought, well, if I own a car, I don't have to perform to drive it. I'll sell me wingless stuff, and we sort of got involved in midgets and been there ever since.
Yeah, awesome. And you've had some good names drive your car, Matt Jackson, and now Luke Storer driving it as well.
Yeah, I started off with a guy named Paul Farrell, which for the guys who've been around midgets a long time, phenomenal driver, had a lot of an American experience, and great mentor for me. I came in pretty green. Me and my dad were always sort of a team, and he came in and he brought a couple of guys like Robbie Brown, which is Cade Brown, or Mark Brown's dad, Cade Brown's grandfather, another guy named Paul, and brought a lot of experience to the team, and we won some big races. And then Paul, he's had kids of his own, and he retired. And then, lucky enough to have Matt Jackson, and we had a great run. I've had Brett Milburn, done a couple of runs, another good name. Yep. And then obviously, currently we've got Luke in the car,
So what's Luke like to drive to work with, Tim?
Absolutely fantastic. Like, anyone that drives for me, we've got to get along. Like, you're at my house, you're around my kids, you're around my family, and vice versa, you know what I mean? So Luke's got a great family, great partner, beautiful young daughter, so Amy and Summer. So great guy to get along with, great family. And I mean, same with Matt, we've got to get along as much off the track as we do on the track. It's one thing winning races or being competitive, but we drive 4, 5, 10 hours to racetracks together, so you've got to get along. You win or lose together, and so we want somebody in the seats that's capable of winning, but they've got to be a good person and fun to be around as well.
Yeah. So you haven't had any American guys, have you?
No, never gone down that path. I guess I've probably never thought my motor program was up to par. I've had nice truck and trailer and nice cars, but I've never had the strongest motor program. I think I've got a good motor program, but I think to bring in America, you really want they want a Toyota or they want an SR11X, and I'm still old school. I believe I run the old Mopars, and I still believe in them. But at the same token, I had a great run with Paul. He always punched well above his weight as far as the motor that we had and the motor program that we had. And then with Matt, same thing. Matt won races on a $9,000 motor. He won state titles with a $15,000 motor. So Matt, the same sort of thing. He's always done excellent in good gear, but not great gear. And then same with Luke. Luke, he didn't care. He just wanted to drive, get in the thing and drive. He's always done well doing that. So never been down the American path, which I'm half proud of. I'm proud that I've always had a local guy. yeah, maybe one day we might try and have an American out and try and win an Aussie title or something. At the same token, I like that we go to battle with homegrown talent and guys that are from Australia. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff. Good on you.
And
I'll tell you what, once again, I don't think there's anything wrong with the Mopars. Like, there's lots of them running in the division, and like on the nights, they're equally as fast as anything else out there.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm pretty lucky. I've got a great guy that's really helped me in the last few years, a guy named Dan Timberlake, and he's like, if I hadn't had his help, I would be on the track still. So it was always me and my dad, and Dad passed away about 3 years ago. I was probably a little bit lost without him, and Dan came along and really filled that void that I had, and particularly with the motor program, just how to put a really good car together and build quality and finish and all those little things. So I'm a believer in a motor. I look at a guy like Corey Day. He's fast on his way to NASCAR, and he's won a USAC race with a Mopar, and he's won, came third at Chili Pole with a Mopar. I think they're over-engineered. They're a fantastic motor. Bang for your buck, I think they're fantastic, and they just never really got developed. I mean, they came out in the late 90s, early 2000s, 2003, 2004. That's sort of when Esslinger took off, and everybody just switched to Esslinger because that was the new great latest and greatest, and the Mopar sort of got forgotten. But for what they cost, like I said, Matt Jackson won a South Australian and a Victorian title with a Mopar, a $15,000 Mopar. Luke Story won an ACT title with a $15,000 Mopar. So, I mean, these are motors that, in my opinion, are affordable motors. I think I googled a WR 450 dirt bike, and I think they're around $18,000 or $19,000 brand new now. So, I mean, if you can afford a dirt bike, you can afford a midget motor.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what chassis do you run? What chassis do you run, Tim?
So currently I've got some spikes, and I've also run they call it a J5H. So it's basically a spike, but it's welded together by a gentleman called Flea Ruzic, who is quite popular. He's had Ripper chassis and Boss chassis. So it's basically a short arm car like an S14 spike, but it's just welded together by Flea Ruzic. So I've got a couple of them as well, and that's what we're currently running.
Yeah, right. And the Mopar is pretty competitive in Australia, isn't it? Like it sort of competes with the better motors we've got over here.
Well, I think so. I think if you put my Mopar on the dyno against a Toyota, I think we'd have very similar numbers.
Yep.
But with a Mopar, it's not as easy to live with. I mean, if you've got a Toyota, you can just ring Toyota and order any part you want off the shelf.
Yeah, right.
And probably got it in stock. Anything from a head to a block to a piston to a rod. Where the Mopar, you got to do a little bit more homework yourself. You've either got to know where to buy it or order the parts.
Yep.
So I don't think that bothers us in Australia. Like after the off season, it's due for a motor freshen up. You've got a couple of months to order the parts and have them arrive and install them. And once you know what you've got, you can keep some stuff in stock. Where obviously the Toyota and maybe the S-Slinger and obviously the SR11X and maybe the new Stealth with Tim Engler, he might have stuff on the shelf that's available straight away. But over a couple of years, I've worked out what motors I've got and what I've got in them, and we keep a bit of stock here in Australia. So if we do have any problems, we're ready to go. So as far as performance, I don't think we've ever lost a race because the Mopar hasn't had enough power.
Yep. Yeah. And just out of interest, I'm not trying to be nosy or nothing, but what's a Speedcar motor cost to refresh these days?
20.
It just depends. Like I said, I think you can do a pretty major freshen up, pretty substantial freshen up for about $8,000.
Yeah, righto. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I look at guys like, I don't know what everyone's spending, but like Nick Parker, he's got a Chevy-based motor and he's still very successful, and Matt Jackson, and so I still think that the older push-rod motors are still good. And I think the Chevy stuff's not overly expensive. I think there's a lot of it around. So it just depends on what's due and when it's due. So I think you do a pretty major freshen up for about $8,000.
Yeah, that's not too bad really when you think about it. Like a motors, you're looking at $50,000 to buy one brand new these days.
Yeah, probably 50 plus.
Yep.
The dollar's not great at the moment. But I'm probably lucky too. With Dan Timberlake, he does all my stuff for me, and like you said, he's been really, really good to me. So, like I said, I'm not paying any labour on that number. So if you had labour, it might get a little bit higher. But yeah, it's and once again, that's the good thing with a push rod motor. Most people know somebody that can put a motor together for them.
Yep.
It's always great to use KRE and the established engine builders, but having said that, if you don't have that in the budget, there's generally, a push rod motor is pretty simple. At the end of the day, there's normally somebody that can put it together for you.
Yep.
And let's go back to Dan. Like Dan, people don't know, he's been around Speedway for a long time, hasn't he? And midgets and stuff like that. And he's a great guy. And I think,
yeah, his dad's a former champion sedan guy, from a sedan family. But yeah, Dan's always had a burning desire to be involved in midgets. He put together, in my opinion, one of the nicest built midgets in Australia as far as workmanship and thought and wiring and plumbing. So yeah, to have him on my side, I'm very. We live in the same town, so to have him is irreplaceable for me anyway.
Yeah, no, it's always good to have an engine builder in your back door.
I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, excellent. So what do we do for a living, Tim?
I sell diagnostic equipment, so I work for a company that we use scan tools and diagnostic tools.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, or you plug in, so your code readers and all that good stuff. So yeah, nothing really exciting, but it pays the bills and keeps the family happy.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. And speaking of the family, how's the family cope with you spending most of your time around motorsport?
They're good. Like I said, I'm really lucky. My wife, she's from Texas, so she wasn't born. She's off the farm. She wasn't born into a racing family or like that. So she understands it. She doesn't have any interest in going or watching. But she supports me in my endeavours, and my daughters. I've got a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old, and the 14-year-old, she's right into it this year. She's looking to come to a lot more races, and it's great fun and being involved, which has been, I'm chuffed about that. So so now I've got their full support. They love when we bring a trophy home or have some success. So no, I'm very, very lucky. They certainly don't. They're not the family that, like, my wife's not there, making sandwiches or in the pits, but she never stands in the way, and obviously make sure there's enough budget there to go racing at the end of the week. So I couldn't be more grateful.
And it won't be long and you'll have to get another speed car, mate, for the daughter, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, well, she's putting a lot of pressure. She's running soccer, and soccer's a lot cheaper than midget racing. So, but yeah, well, I'm sure we'll give her an opportunity in a go-kart or something here, not too long. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good to see another female out there, especially when you see girls like Zoe Pearce and what she's doing with the sport. Like, she's an absolute gun, and it's good to see a lot more girls out there.
Done great. Like I said, obviously she's third generation. She's and the way she sort of got jumped in the deep end. Her and Andy threw her in the deep end, and she's shone like for a little pocket rock. Where she hangs onto that car. She's done, and obviously her resume already as far as America, New Zealand, Australia. She's done a great job.
Yep.
Yeah, she had. Once again, like I was talking to Andy about it not long ago, and I said, mate, you must be the proudest dad at the moment, and you can sort of hear it in his voice, like, of course I am,
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a credit to them all.
She does a great job with the social media and selling herself and putting herself out there. Like I said, it's I admire anybody that puts themselves out there, whether it be Bo or Zoe or any of the people.
Yeah.
Obviously open yourself up for criticism, always those haters online, but you got to tip your hat.
And that's and that's the sad part about it, isn't it? Like, the more people try and do that, like, the more people get criticised for doing it, which I think it's just sad,
Do you think?
Well, I mean, I do what I got to do to go racing, right? So, and they do what they got to do to go racing. If that's what they got to do to market themselves, in Zoe's case, to get rides, whether it be locally or internationally, or promote her sponsors to keep her sponsors on board, and same with Bo, if that's what they're doing, for them to go racing, good. Like, what? If that's not what they're going to do, this is what I got to do. So how do you criticise that? You know what I mean? And it's no different to you guys. I mean, it's amazing to have a show dedicated to speed car racing where speed cars get involved on other podcasts, but it's sometimes an afterthought, or there are sprint car races that's doubled in speed car racing. So to have a dedicated speed car podcast is first class. And like I said, I'm not going to criticise anyone else for doing what they got to do to go racing, because I got to do what I got to do to go racing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think the one thing that holds a lot of people back off social media these days is because there's clauses that you can't do this and you can't do that because of Speedway and that. So I think a lot of them are a bit sort of, how do you put it, bit scared to put a lot of things on social media, where I think that tide's actually starting to turn to where it was 10 years ago.
I've never done it, but I imagine it's labour intensive too. I mean, it's taking the film, it's setting up the cameras, it's taking the shots, it's editing, it's posting. So, I guess one of my pet peeves is everyone says how expensive midget racing is and what it costs to go racing. But I mean, it's if you want to do it, you'll find a way. You know what I mean? So,
I totally agree. I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
If that's their passion, that's what they want to do to go racing. It's that's awesome.
It doesn't matter whether you're racing a motor car or you're kicking a soccer ball. It's all expensive. It doesn't matter. Even school sport.
Like, it's in motorsport's expensive, and it's not fair. Like, that getting into it. I mean, Formula One's not fair. There's politics in Formula One. So if there's politics in Formula One, there's going to be politics in midget racing. If there's, like, kids play soccer, it's a $25 soccer ball, and there's politics in that. There's politics in cricket clubs, soccer clubs. So that's the reality of it. So if you know that getting into it, so it doesn't matter how much I spend. There's going to be somebody that spends more, and it doesn't matter what I buy. I still want to buy better stuff. And some people look at me and wish they had what I had, and I look at other people. I wish I had what they had. So it's
cool.
It's but like I said, I'd rather go run a $9,000 Gertie motor in my midget and have a blast and sit on the sidelines. So, from what I learned running a cheap motor, it's still knowledge. So now I've got better equipment. That learning curve is not as steep because I've already learnt it. So, for me, I haven't always had the best stuff, but I'd rather bring what I got to the track and do the best with what I got and have some fun.
Yeah.
Oh, but mate, I'll tell you what though, you can't deny this. Like, all your gear has always looked immaculate though. Like, you've always had some of the best presented looking cars.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Paul Farrell played a big part in that early on. He obviously we had access. We had the first S14 cars in the country. Obviously with his business, Midwest Freight. We had a really good opportunity, and he sort of put us in front of the 8 ball. And then Matty Jackson, when I was working with Matty, his business, Big Time Race Parts, and he always had good access through gear to him. And then now Luke's involved in the titanium business. So I've always had good people around me, and obviously my dad. I was lucky enough where he was always prided himself on presentation and producing a really nice car. So it wasn't always the fastest in the pits, but we always try and make it present well and be clean and like I said, we've always been proud of it.
Yeah. Well, an old fellow once said to me back when I was a young kid racing Auto 500, he goes, "You know what? If you can't win a race, just always look good." And I thought, well, you know what? I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and my dad was always, when he got home from work on a Wednesday, if my go-kart wasn't clean and everything packed, ready to go, then we didn't go. And like I said, have massive expectations that I didn't have to pull down motors and rebuild anything like that. Pull out the can of Mr. Sheen and a few rags and give it a wipe over and make sure it's nice and clean and presentable. And then that, so I think from him, he certainly good work ethic and how to look after a race car.
If you don't mind me asking, Tim, who is your dad?
So my dad is Morris, Morris the Moose.
Yep.
So that's where
Moose came from.
Yep. So he passed away about 3 years ago. So I used Moose Motorsport, sort of little nod of the head to him, sort of thing. So like I said, we started racing when I was 8 years old, and we raced all the way up until basically he couldn't come to the races. He had a heart problem. He couldn't come to the races. He got sick, but seeing what when Matty was around, he won some titles with us with Matt, and some of the best memories of my life was winning races with him and Brad and Matt. So we lost him. We lost a good one. He's an amazing mechanic, great fabricator. Like, built our motors, built our trailer, serviced the truck, serviced the generator, did everything. So one of a kind. But that's where the Moose comes from. So Morris the Moose is what his brothers called him from when he lived in New Zealand, and so that's where the Moose Motorsport comes from.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
And baseball. You're a bit of a baseball man back in the day. Like, what was you, a pitcher or a batter or a fielder? Or?
I was a catcher a few kilos ago, but I've got a few kegs since then. But yeah, I was pretty lucky. I grew up by a baseball field in Melbourne, and I guess I was okay at it, and I played baseball, then sort of made the Victorian team, then made the Australian team, and had the opportunity to go to the World Championships, and made the All-Star team for that. And then I had an opportunity to sign, this is we're talking late 90s, you can sign professionally at 16. And I had a couple of offers to turn professional at 16, but this is 96, so no internet or no Snapchat or no Facebook. So mum and dad were a little bit dubious about me going the other side of the world at 16, so we waited until I finished high school. I was still 17 when I finished high school, and I had the opportunity to go to college. So I played college baseball where I met my wife. She was there playing volleyball, and then played college baseball, then signed professionally after college and played a couple of years professional, and then eventually I sustained an injury, and it wasn't necessarily a career-ending injury, but by that time I had to come home because when I was injured, they took my visa away from me. So they said, hey, go back to Australia, rehab, and when you're better, you can come back. And I was 22 by then, about 22. I'd been travelling since I was 17. I used to, the 2 years before I actually moved there full time, I'd go for the summers and stay with the family. And in our winter, I'd travel to America, stay there for 3 months, play. I'll probably play 60 games in 90 days. Jeez. And then I'll come back to Australia. So I've been sort of travelling since I was 15. So it was almost 8 years sort of on the road, travelling around. So when I got home, I got a dog and got a real job, and I sort of never went back. And then had an opportunity to buy a business with my dad, and we brought a business, had that for 13 years. Which was a motorcycle shop. We had a KTM Kawasaki shop for 13 years. And then that's when he sort of got sick and we got rid of that. And here we are now.
Awesome, man.
What a great way as a 15 and 16-year-old kid to grow up, travelling in America and playing baseball.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I'm pretty grateful, 15, 16, you're on that side of the world, and it was sort of still too expensive to talk on the phone then. We'd talk maybe once a month, so I started a fax machine to write out fax it to mum and dad at work. They had a business, and Dad, I'd write them out a fax, and they would fax me back. So, there's no Snapchat or Facebook or any of that. So, look, I've got a 14-year-old daughter now. Can't imagine, she's 15 in a couple of months. I can't imagine sending her off to America by herself. That's, you chase the dream. That was the next step, so that's what you do.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Australia's pretty, a lot of people in Australia don't think the baseball's pretty big over here, but it is actually pretty big, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd be surprised how big it is, really. Particularly Melbourne, Sydney, Queensland. I think there'd probably be 100 kids in college now. So the Americans like the Australian kids. So, we're sort of pretty big kids and strong and fit. So baseball, like I said, it's bigger than a lot of people think. It's obviously not mainstream. You don't see it on TV and that, but over the years, it has been on TV. It's at different times. And there's semi-professional league here now. That's sort of been on and off for 20 years. So. It's a lot of cricket people, particularly I live in Geelong, and the baseball scene in Geelong is very strong. A lot of cricket people in the off season play baseball. So like I said, it's a lot bigger than people give it credit for.
Yeah. Excellent. And
sorry.
No, you're all Paul.
The Australian titles are at Simpson this year.
Yes,
you're Victorian. That would be something that you'd be happy about.
Yes. For me, there's nothing bigger. Like put that number one on your tail tank. So I'm pretty lucky. So obviously I've got Luke in the car this year for Aussie title. So Luke obviously getting that sprint car opportunity. Our schedule is a little bit up in the air. Obviously the sprint car is the priority for him this year. So we've got a couple of races before the Chili Bowl. Went to the Chili Bowl last year with Luke, back to the Chili Bowl this year with Luke. So we'll run the Chili Bowl. he literally gets off the plane and gets in the car again and goes and runs the President's Cup, not President's Cup, the Classic, the week of the Classic, and then he'll run all the Classic, and then straight after that, we're Simpson for the Victorian title and the Australian title, and I mean, I'm torn. Like I love to race every race, so I'm so happy for Luke and his family, the opportunity he's been given, and he like deserves, and obviously he's backed that up, straight away. What he's done in the car. I mean, it's not like he's running Club SA race shows. It's like the best guys, Veerley, Goodyear, the best guys in the country. So we'll have him for the Vic title, Aussie title, and then after that, it'll just see what his movements are, what we have scheduling wise, and a little bit fluid. Normally we say, hey, we're going to run these shows, but this year we're going to just be a little bit fluid. When gaps open up and he doesn't have sprint car commitments, we'll split as many races as we can.
And
sorry, Paul, to answer your question, Aussie title in Victoria, always a big year, and then to have the race at Simpson is amazing. I mean, that track just puts on phenomenal racing. So really looking forward to it.
I've never been to Simpson, so I can't wait. I really can't wait to get there in February. It's going to be sick.
It's an amazing track. I just think it's a track where it's very hard to run 30 laps perfectly. I mean, turn 1 and 2 can be tricky. It gets wide and you can really get some big runs off turn 2, which will open up some opportunities in turn 3 and 4. So you got to have good brakes, good set of nuts on you at the end of the straight there. And it's very hard to get turn 3 and 4 right 30 times in a row. So for me, it always opens up opportunity to pass or that apply that pressure. So when you race at Simpson, it doesn't matter how far out the leader is, you got to race every corner of every lap because it's literally at Simpson. It's not over, so that checker flag drops. I've seen races won and lost by very, very good drivers, won and lost on the last lap, so multiple times. So with the calibre of driver we're going to have, the calibre of car, and the crew at Simpson work tirelessly to provide a racy surface. They were great at, they'll water it, they'll do anything to put on a racy track. So all those ingredients into one, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I think it's going to be great.
If it's anything
I'd like to see the V39 up there again. I'd like to think we can get up there.
Well, I think Nick, I mean, he's been quicker in there, to be honest. He should have won a couple of Victorian titles. He's had his pocket picked a couple of times. I think one year he got caught up in someone else's mess, and he's had a couple of. He probably deserves a couple, to be honest with you. So I think in Victoria this year, obviously with the Mills suffering, I'm not sure whether their motor, they've suffered a bit of motor problems. So I think he's always very good, young. So I think he's definitely got the runs, and my boy's going to be tough to beat around Simpson.
Can anyone beat Caden Brown though? Is he beatable?
Yeah, look, he is. He's super professional. Once again, he's going to the Chili Bowl as well, so he's going to be off the back of some real high level racing. I've seen him around Simpson, super impressive. Like I said, I think anytime Caden rocks up at a track, he's probably the guy to beat. Great equipment, great heritage, great driver, smart. I mean, laser focused. So I think when he rocks up, he's always the man to beat. But like I said, with Nick and even like you get young guys like Mitch Saunderson and obviously Luke and Matty Jackson. I mean, guys like Nathan Smith still like puts the car in the right place. He's been around 100 years, but he's still there. So I think obviously the guys from South Australia,
you look at that. Well, they got Tommy Payette and Jack McCarthy, as team now. I mean, Harry Stewart just done a ride over driving Jonesy's car.
The sprint car.
Yeah, that was nice. Last year, did great as a rookie. He's won a Western Australian title, so tough race away. Tough race away.
And then since you've got the Doyles, like the Manders over there from WA. Who else?
Dylan Menz.
100%. I'm forgetting probably 10 people. And like I said, those calibre of guys at that particular circuit, it's going to be amazing. So I've seen cars.
It'd be a great race.
Yeah, I've seen, like I said, Caden. I've seen him run. Caden Brown. I've seen him run Simpson quite a few times now, so he's no stranger to that place. So obviously, be one of the favourites. But I've seen Matty Jackson won Matty Jackson's won 2 Victorian titles there. Luke's always quick around there, so It's going to be an exciting weekend for sure.
And Matty Jackson
I can't
will be after revenge after Murray Bridge last year. That's for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, he hasn't had much luck in Aussie titles. I mean, I remember he came to Waterville one year and they dropped. He was driving his own car and one of the bolts of the butterfly fell into the motor and could hear it tick. He did hurt the motor, but he didn't run. And we went and got my backup car and he ran that and came through the B. But he just hasn't ever had any luck at all in an Australian title. So when you think there's not much he hasn't won, particularly on the east coast of Australia now. So it's just that elusive. Obviously his grandfather was a former Australian champion, so it'd be pretty cool. Like Matty's a third generation racer, and it'd be pretty cool to see him win one for sure. He's definitely paid his dues. I don't think there's anybody that chases midget races as much as he does in the country. He races for me and guys in Western Australia, Queensland, his own car. So nobody loves midget racing more than Matty.
And
he's a great guy to go and talk to in the pits. Like, he always takes the time out. I've tried to get him on the show. He was a bit busy, but we definitely got to get him on the show because he's got a great story too, hasn't he?
He's got an amazing story. Like I said, third generation. A tragic story. Like his father Norm, he was still on his mum's tummy when his dad passed away in a midget. So Matt's grandfather died in racing a midget before. So Norm obviously never met his father. He passed away in a midget. So, and they prepared midgets Matt's grandmother, they prepared midgets in that garage for 50 years. So a great story. Even like the Brown family, like Robbie Brown, like we used to go racing with Robbie. He tells the story how his brother died twice on the track of Portland and they revived him. And these guys have got harrowing stories, of the past, which it's just, that's why I love to go racing with them, and that's what I said earlier. You've got to enjoy the company that when you have people drive your car, you got to like them as people as well, because that's where you get all these stories, and it's awesome.
And Matt Jackson, he really wears his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he?
Yeah, like I said, he's just a passionate guy. Yeah. He's there to win and be competitive, and he's just a smart racer. Like, he's not necessarily going to go out and blow his doors on time trials all the time, but at a 30-lap race, he's always there. He really gets that a midget race is 30 laps. Yep. And step one of winning a midget race is finishing a midget race. So you see a lot of guys that are fast, 15, 20, 25 laps, but they might fade or fatigue or they might have mechanical problems. But Matt and his package is very, very smart at finishing a race.
Yep. And we was just talking about Chili Bowl, Tim.
Yes.
What's the logistics and what's involved when you go to America to race these things over there? Is there a lot of logistics, or is it just jump on a plane and fly over there and race someone else's car?
Yeah, for us, we're very lucky. We race for a team out of Dallas, Texas. When I say we, Luke drives it, obviously, but we all go over and cheer for him. So for us, we're very, very lucky with that opportunity. Dan and Patricia Harris, they're out of Dallas, Texas, and they have anywhere from 3 to 5 cars in a Chili Bowl, all very good equipment. So for Luke, it's just a matter of pack your driver's suit and your helmet, and when he gets there, he jumps in the car and goes. And like, for example, it's a pretty high profile team. So night one of the Chili Bowl, they actually sponsor night one of the Chili Bowl. It's called the second auto night one. Yep. So that shows you how committed they are. And then, for example, one of the guys on the team, his grandfather was sold the chili that the Chili Bowl's named after.
Yeah, right.
So, really?
Yeah, so Tanner. So the team that we race for has a lot of heritage. So the one of the guys on the team, he's the crew chief for Hendrick Motorsport. He's one of the teammates for Luke. This year's going to be a guy named Jesse Love, who just won the Xfinity Series. So so when we go over there, it's pretty cool. You get plugged into NASCAR stars and I guess in our world, celebrities. So really, really interesting. So logistically, not a lot. It's just rock up and race. And obviously, a team with that experience, they race a car every night. So and then obviously it's all in on Saturday night. So logistically, they've been there that many times. They know how it works. They know, we stay at the best motels, we eat at the best restaurants, the best car parks, just because they've been there, done that. So for us, last year was our first time with that team Lukey did a fantastic job, and they're really excited for him to come back this year. So, probably easier. You know everybody, you've met everybody, you know all the pit crew and all the drivers. So, we're looking forward to even more fun if it's possible this year.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And as a driver, do they just write, this is the car, you drive it, or do you actually go in there and say, I'd like the car set up this way, can we run it this way, or is it just not like that at all?
Yeah, it was a little bit of that, a little bit of we didn't know any better, so Luke just jumped in the car and went out and practiced and sort of comes back and like, it gives a bit of feedback. You know, we wanted the car to be a little bit stiffer and, stagger, and the team's very good on shocks, so they really dialed in the shocks. But to be honest, the car was pretty close. I don't want to speak on Luke's behalf, but the car was pretty close, probably a little bit soft in the right rear bar, which will obviously change for this year. But like Luke, always a gentleman, he didn't want to sort of the first time in there say, oh, we need this and need that, but by the end of the Chili Bowl, he had really earned their respect, and they're like, well, what do we need to do? I mean, you're obviously fast, and so we're going to change the brakes on it this year, probably put a little heavier bar in it, and the car will be pretty close. But it's always a team effort. But at the end of the day, Luke has enough experience. He knows what he likes and what feel he likes, and he's a pretty hands-on driver. So after 3 or 4 laps, he tells us what we need, and the team that we've got is pretty well resourced. It doesn't matter what we need. It's going to be made available for him.
Yep. And are we up to America's standards? Our drivers, are we up to their standards, or are they still a little bit above Australia in the way they standard things?
I would say they're probably just a little bit above, purely just because of laps. I don't think, when we go there, we don't get outgunned. I mean, I think probably our biggest weakness when we go there in a USAC side of things, probably time trialing.
Yep.
I think when it comes to race speed, even back to obviously, Dane Kingshot, when he went over many years ago, he made nearly every A main, but probably the downfall is those guys just roll out and they can qualify. So I think the race pace, where our top half a dozen guys, you can plug them in to America, no problem whatsoever.
Yep.
I think probably our weakness is just qualifying. Everything's so qualifying dependent with the USAC format. I think if we could qualify better, and when I say better, the only reason I'm not great at it is because we don't really do it that often in Australia.
Yep.
But I think when it comes to race pace, I think our top 6 guys can race with those guys for sure.
And that's credit to our drivers, really. Like we don't race 5 days a week down here. We only race like 2, maybe 3 days a week.
100%. I think the caliber equipment and whether it be the shock technology, guys are in tune with their shocks and their bars and the cars. So I don't think we lack for equipment. I think our equipment now is just as good, and obviously we don't race that as much. So our equipment is generally fresher. It's not we don't wear it out. But I think probably the only negative and why we wouldn't be as fast as American is because we race a little bit with self-preservation. Like, most of the guys, like take for example Nick Parker, Matt Jackson, Luke Storer, a Buddha, Jack McCarthy, they've all got jobs. Most of them got families too. So, A, the things are expensive. B, they've got to go to work Monday. So the only reason they wouldn't be as fast as the American guys is they probably race with that 1 or 2 tenths of self-preservation of A, they're expensive to fix, and B, I've got kids and I've got a job to go to Monday. So I don't think it's any lack of talent or any lack of speed. It would only be, though, in my opinion, those little factors that why they would be any slower than, say, the top Americans. But you're right, I think the caliber of car we've got and the amount of laps we do for the speed we've got is amazing.
That's off to our boys. And the state of racing in Australia, how do you rate the racing? How's Speedcars going in Australia, you think?
I think it's always that's a tough question. I think with Sydney not being around, that's hurt Speedway in general. But I think Brisbane, Queensland have got a good thing. I think they're pretty healthy. WA is healthy. They've rebounded really well. Victoria had, I think, 16 cars at their first race meeting this year. I wasn't there, and there's a couple of cars that are probably normally there next week. That 16 could have easily been 18, 19. So South Australia, I mean, I think they're always continuing. Obviously, they've got some great promotion over there with the Dwyers and what they do. So they've pushed very hard. So I think the car count in WA is always moving forward. So I mean, I always try and be positive. I think that it is what it is. I mean, there can always be more, but there can certainly be less. So I think it's pretty. Considering the dollar and the economy, I think it's great. It's like I said, anytime you start in the season with 17, 18, 19 cars, I think that's healthy. So like I said, I think there's some good cars for sale around the country too. So hopefully there's a good opportunity for the car count to grow over the duration of the season. But no, I think it's stable. Yeah, I think the numbers we got now are pretty stable, and if anything, it's nice to see them go up a couple. So yeah.
We're talking about cars for sale at the moment. You've got a good car for sale at the moment.
Yeah, I've got a great car. Yeah, I've got Troy Ware. He's got if you want to go race for an Australian champion or to be super competitive, there's a great car in Queensland, Troy Ware. I've got a really good car for sale. Dan Timberlake, guy that helps me, he's got a car for sale. So there's some different price points there. So our Papa's got a Mopar motor for sale. So when you look around, there is some quality gear that's on the market. So I think if there's anybody out there that was looking to get into speed car racing, now would be a good time. I think it's some really good cars at some good price points. So if anyone's looking, we've got some options.
Yeah, make sure you look up Tim if you're looking for a speed car. Then I've seen the car; it's not a bad looking car. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice to get like S14, all Red Devil brakes, all good stuff. So that's a car. That motor, that motor there, we ran that at Speed Week last year, and we've got dyno sheets for it. We take to the dyno. So that's a good little motor.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. And when are we going to see yours on the track, Tim? Where are we aiming at?
We're aiming to the 5,000 metre Avalon in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
And then obviously we've got a couple of races over that Christmas period. I'm not 100% sure where they're at yet. I haven't checked the schedule. I think there's one at Warrnambool Simpson maybe.
Yep.
Which obviously we had Speed Car Week that our plan was to run all that. But obviously that's not happening. So there'll be a couple of races over Christmas, and then obviously jump on the plane to the Chili Bowl, and then not long after that we get back Victorian title, Australian title, and then like I said, we'll sort of see where the season takes us with Luke's availability.
Yep, excellent. Has there been any thought about chucking someone else in the car while Luke's not available?
Not for this season, purely because with the Australian title being locally, I didn't want to, start a new relationship. And like I said, Luke's been pretty patient over the last couple of years. I've had a few reliability issues with my motors. I made a bad decision that sort of haunted me for 2 years on a crankshaft. So I sort of owe it to Luke. He's been pretty loyal to me, and if it wasn't for some motor problems, he would have won probably 5 or 6 more races than he's won. So, and that's why, like I said at the start of the show, I want to take my time to make sure we're right this year. So, no, not for this year. What the future holds, I'm not sure. There's talk of me and the family moving to Texas next year. So, if that happens, it'll obviously make your race in the Chili Bowl a little bit easier. But so we're not really looking past this season at the moment. We'll get the season done in the books and then see what the future holds.
Yeah, righto. So, do you reckon you might race in America though? You might hold the team together?
Oh, most definitely. That's the plan. I would really, once again, as a guy that doesn't drive the car, I only work on them and race them. I hope to, if I can, I've already got some good connections in America. I've got a couple of cars. So my plan moving forward is to maybe create a gateway to America that gives particularly speed car people an opportunity to race in America. So if you want to send your car over, the biggest problem with racing in America, you send your car over and your motor, but you got no tools, you got no mule, you've got no eskies or deck chairs or weather stations. So I'd like to maybe create a pathway where people send their car over and go race that way, whether it be Power Eye or Midget Week or the Western Swing in California, Chili Bowl. So that's my sort of long-term goal. Is still be obviously have Merce Motorsports and run as many Australians in the car as we can.
Yep. No, that's an awesome idea.
I need to get. Well, it sounds that I need to get myself a working visa.
Well, I was lucky to marry an American girl, and I've had two daughters that are dual citizens. So we're just waiting for my visa to come through, which is So it's about another 8 months away. So that's obviously made the transition super easy for me. Having that opportunity where I don't have to have a job or all those things. I'm going to be issued a visa sort of relatively. Yeah. So my wife's sort of been married almost 18 years. So she's given me almost 20 years here. So she says she wants to go back. So I said, well, everything I love's there. So why not?
Everything's cheaper over there too, Tim, isn't it?
Well, 100%. Yeah, particularly when it comes to race cars. So when you're not paying the freight or the exchange rate, it's that's the plan. It'll make racing even cheaper, and that's a big part of the decision. Cost of living in Australia is pretty expensive. So with the opportunity to move to America and hopefully live a good lifestyle there.
Awesome, mate. Before we go,
I think that's a credit to you.
Yeah, no, definitely a credit. Before we go, Tim, is there any people out there you'd like to thank? Sponsors, people that work on the crew?
Yeah, obviously, just a big shout out to Dan Timberlake. Everything he's done for me and continues to do for me. Like most motorsports wouldn't exist. Quite literally wouldn't be around without him and not what he just does on the car. What we do, drinking a beer in the shed, talking shit. So that's always, I appreciate what he does. Mark AB Motors, and Mark, he's been a great supporter of mine for a long time as well. You always see his name on always on the left-hand side of the bonnet. The drivers, obviously Matt Jackson with Quick Time Race Parts, Luke, obviously, and his family for their efforts. IMJ Speedway Spares, old Ian there, he's been a long-time supporter. Pete Green from Sun Electrical, appreciate everything he does for us. Jason from Jackal, Concrete Pumping, he's the last couple of years he's really jumped on board and assisted with me. So I've got a small crew, but they're loyal, and I really appreciate everything they do for me. Anyway.
Excellent, mate. Excellent. Well, stay with us. Don't go off the line. We'll finish the show and we'll have a bit more of a yak. But we wish you all the best this season. We hope it all goes well. It'd be good to see Oz one on the side of her.
Well, it'll be a big ask, but I think we've got the driver to do it and the talent to do it. Yeah. Hopefully, I can give him the package to do it. So that's the stress of a car owner is. I know I've got the ability in the seat to do it. It's just whether or not I can give him the package good enough to do it. But looking forward to a good season. And before we go, I just want to thank you guys for what you do. You know what I mean? It's to take your time and your money and your investment into Speedcars. It's greatly appreciated. Give us a platform as whether it be a car owner or a driver. A Speedcar focused platform. It's really appreciated. And we never miss an episode because, like I said, it's good to have a podcast that makes Speedcars focused, not just an afterthought. So I appreciate everything you guys do to push and promote our sport, not only our drivers, obviously, guys like myself and I'm the team owner. So appreciate everything you guys do too.
No, thanks, Tim. We really appreciate that, mate. Thanks for joining us tonight, Tim. Thanks for joining us, Paul. Like I said, stay on the line. We'll finish the show and we'll have a bit more of a yak. But don't forget to like the page, everyone, and get on the Speedcars Down Under. If you can't find the episode on Facebook, make sure you check out on YouTube because it'll be on there as well. I think we've got Matt Jackson on next week. I haven't spoke to him as yet, but we're gonna prod him and try and get him on the show.
Actually, no, we haven't. We've got Ross Klein on next week.
Ross Klein, right? He's not on my list, Paul. What are you doing to me?
No, I told you this earlier on. So I touched base with Ross the other day. And I said to him, I'd love to have you on the podcast. And he said, what do I have to do? And I said, not much. I said, if I can get through it, you can. So he was actually thrilled. So I'd love to get him on the show. And you know who Ross is, don't you, Tim?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great. He's got some great. I'm a big Sesco guy, and I know he's got one of the cleanest brand new Sescos. So I don't know him personally, but I've seen some of his collection, and it's amazing. So I think a real historian of Australian speedcar race, so it'd be interesting to have you on with him.
Awesome. Well, we might go for Matt Jackson the following week.
Get Matt after that.
Perfect.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to like the page, and we'll catch everyone next week. Thanks again for joining us, Tim. Best of luck for the season ahead, and
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night, everyone.